Clayton, not to belabor the point since he was in here yesterday, but what do you say to a guy like Jamar who has that kind of play? And he played very well otherwise, but you know that's what's the ones everybody's going to be thinking of and talking about.
Absolutely. So we talked to Jamar. I saw him first thing Sunday, and we kind of, I said, man, first of all, you did a great job in the game. I thought you was ready to come in and play. Obviously, you want to be the poster boy of play smart football, but obviously we all learn from it. It's one of those things where you didn't think it would happen to you, and obviously we learn from it, move on, and he allowed me to make light of the situation with the defense, and you also used it as a learning moment for us. But the most important part was he was also the fourth safety going into the game, ready to play, and I thought that was the most impressive part of his play, that he stepped up when it was time.
Clayton, what was your reaction to seeing Jamar's GIF? You mentioned making light of it. What was your reaction to seeing kind of his reaction to it?
I mean, at the time it was funny. It was time to laugh. So we overcame it. I was at home with my family, so I'm not going to feel the way I felt on the sideline when it happened. So we laughed about it, and I kept laughing at the rest of them that kept coming through. I kind of told them, you've kind of made it from a meme standpoint when they use you as the Michael Jordan crying face. So if I'm him, I'm taking that and I'm using that and running with it. So I thought that was the best part of it. But it was definitely funny when you start after we overcame it. So
and Tennessee obviously has a pretty mobile quarterback. I think Hooker's going to start for them. How do you go about mimicking that in practice, and how do you feel like the defense has responded to the first 2 days of practice?
Yeah, we've had a really, really, really good practices here. Our guys are locked in. We obviously back to SEC football, and Hendon Hooker is a really good athlete, good quarterback. He's been around for a while, and so we just got to continue. We have guys on our football team that can run around and throw the football very similar to him. So I think our scout team guys have done a really good job of just giving us the best possible look. Yep.
Clayton, we kind of sad about this on the offensive side, but as far as third downs go and third down defense, I guess what goes into being good on third down and defense? I mean, is it just like a down that we tend to circle and say, hey, it wasn't as good here? Like, I mean, what goes into it, and maybe what goes into being successful on that down?
Yep. One is trying your best to keep them behind the chains on first and second down for his defense. Third and medium and third and short on the defensive side are hard. That's hard football. And obviously, nothing's easy, but that's definitely a harder down. So you got to stay ahead of the chains, and offensively they want to stay ahead of the chains as well. And I think they give yourself the best chance. If you're in a bunch of third and fours on defense, it's going to be a long day. So you want to stay out of those situations as much as possible.
Clayton, in your coaching career so far, whether it was position coach or as a coordinator, have you encountered having to prepare for an offense that wants to try to get into triple digits in terms of play numbers, and how do you get your guys ready for that kind of tempo and that kind of environment once they're on the field?
Yep. So obviously, football has changed over the past 10 years, and obviously Coach Heupel and those guys have kind of set the bar very high on plays per minute. So the only thing you can do at practice is make sure your guys don't get comfortable. It's not going to be the same. Obviously, we watch TV copies of games to show the pace of play. Our guys are football junkies, so they knew, coming in that Coach Heupel came from UCF, and so they're ready for that mentally. But obviously, trying to replicate that at practice is going to be hard to do. But we try to at least make sure they understand that the tempo is going to be fast, and we do as many plays as fast as we can. That's all you got, really.
What are some of the coaching points you have for your guys when you're teaching them? Like, is it just, hey, get up, get lined up, and get the call and that kind of thing?
So you really got to have a plan, and you also got to continue to coach them on the little things. Like, for example, if you make a play, this is not the time to turn around and do a 5-second celebration. It's time to get up, eyes to the sideline, and play with a lot of sense of urgency. Things that we kind of the word of the week here, just moving around fast, and you got to have a great sense of urgency. Understand what's going on, understand the situation, understand what's going on with Tennessee and how they run their offense. That's really the main thing that you got to just change the mindset after post play.
Let's go back to David. Left.
Clayton, when you have a situation where you're not going to have a player for the first half, like RJ this week, first, how do you handle that at practice, knowing that he could end up still playing? And two, who's taking first-team reps for that starting spot?
Right now, Jamar and Jalen Dickinson have been kind of splitting those reps, trying to figure, making a decision as a staff as the week goes to see who's going to go out there first. Jalen's been playing kind of both like we normally do, just to make sure that guys are ready. And obviously, RJ, I've had a couple players have to miss first halves before. What I tell them is, you have a chance to go watch the plays that they're running. When you come in, you should already know what they're running. Let's get where the ball is going to be at. So you can use that to an advantage. You got to find a positive from all negatives, and so obviously that's what me and RJ has been talking about. But as far as reps at practice, he's working hard. He's working harder than he ever has because he knows he's going to have a less reps, so he want to come in. He want to have an effect on the football game, and he's also helping Jamar and helping Jalen Dickinson and Foster at that position that he was playing.
Let's go to Joe Warchow on the front right.
Coach, when you face a team that goes tempo like Tennessee, which part of the defense gets stressed the most in terms of trying to communicating quickly enough to make sure you're in the right play when they snap the ball? Because is it the defensive line? Is it the secondary? Which unit has the most stress on it when you go tempo?
I would say the guys that are farthest from our sideline. So I think the D-line and it's going to be the same amount of activity, but it's the guy that's the farthest away from our sideline is the one that kind of stresses the most because he want to make sure that the call got relayed to him. So that's kind of what the outside linebacker to that side, the DN to that side, the safety to that side, and the corner to that side.
Let's go to Mike Hugo, front left.
Clayton, every week obviously changes, but with Tennessee running the ball as efficiently as they did last week, knowing that they probably want to continue to be able to run the football on you guys, and I think back to that Kentucky game, and then obviously last week with Troy at times, how much have you guys emphasized that and being able to fix maybe some of the run gaps in terms of, whether it's the defensive backs, just being able to step up and fill those holes so they don't have those explosive plays like we've seen the last couple of weeks?
Obviously, it's one of those things where you want to make sure that you're harping on everything. As a good defense, you kind of want to be good at the run and the pass, right? If you're good at the run and you're not good at the pass, then and some people think you're a good run stopping defense, but you're really bad against the pass, and flip and vice versa. We want to try to be good at both. That's our goal. We don't want to, be that one-sided defense. So we can continue to harp on those things. DBs, linebackers, D-line, everybody's, changing the math up front, getting off blocks, and it's not just one guy. So obviously Tennessee, they put up some pretty big numbers just last week on the ground, and obviously they're a run-first team, and so we got to make sure that we understand who we're playing. Yep.
Clayton, going with an up-tempo offense and having to combat against it, how do you toe the line between trying to mix fronts and mix coverages while keeping things simple to relay messages quickly to that defense?
Sometimes some offenses make that impossible. You really, playing with fire when you do that. So you have to be great on the sideline. That's where, offense moving the ball, offense getting first downs. Anytime our offense can do what our offense did last week, that gave us even though they probably want more points, which we all do, but our offense did a great job last week of getting first downs, moving the ball. That gives us more time on the sideline to talk about what we're going to do when we go out. So I thought that was the biggest part of the game last week. And, from a defensive side, that's what won the game for us. We made some changes last week because our offense converted a couple third downs on the next to last drive, and we go out and get the sack fumble. It was huge. Just getting first downs is big time, on these kind of games here, obviously keeping us off the field. So we could talk on the sideline about what we're going to do. But you really don't have time to answer your question. We don't have time to yell out or signal all these certain things. You do not have time for that.
Let's go to Hale in the back middle.
Kind of going back to what you said to my other question about guys not celebrating too much.
Yeah.
You guys are normally okay with guys, celebrating with each other after a good play and that kind of thing. What's sort of your philosophy when it comes to, guys wanting to celebrate making a good play and that kind of thing? What do you say to them when you're not having to worry about getting lined up real quick?
I got you. So, obviously, it's express yourself. Express yourself in a manner to where it doesn't affect the football team. From a flag, find your teammates. So really we preach on, I tell my guys, you can almost do whatever you want besides the cutthroat, but as long as you're doing it with your teammates, we all good with that. So that's the most important thing, that we want to make sure that you're doing it with your teammates. But express yourself, get it out, and let's snap back in.
Let's go front middle, Ben Portnoy on the camera.
Clayton, I think you were on the UConn staff when you played Oklahoma, and Josh was running the offense maybe then in 2011, if I'm dating back. I don't know if you remember it at all, but
No, they played him in the bowl game, but I was not there.
Okay. Never mind.
No problem. I don't know if Josh was running the offense when they went at Oklahoma. I played against them at Stanford on a bowl game in 2009 at Sun Bowl, but I watched that game. Yeah.
Let's go over to David on the front left.
Clayton, you mentioned celebrations, and I know a lot of times the NCAA will show you videos about what not to do. You ever show them videos about, hey, you can do that if you want to, like some old Miami Hurricane celebrations or anything?
No, sir.
All right, I think that's a good question.
All right. See y'all.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Take care. See y'all.